Hey guys, it's Mike from Baltimore Rides here. It is Friday, September 1st. I am back out on the road. It's about 2:30. My day is actually just getting started. I just gassed up the car and got my morning or my routine cup of coffee. I also got a Powerade to keep hydrated, and that's it. So I'm on the road, and I kind of want to talk a little bit differently today. So I was kind of making light yesterday. Obviously, some of the guys that I talked to at the BWI airport parking lot were kind of having a little bit of fun and playful fun. They caught my videos on YouTube, and they were, it's just guys being guys. But something was said yesterday that, I've been thinking about it since it was said. And one of the guys there, who I like very much, said, "Don't tell them about us." And I thought about that. Thought about it a lot last night while I was driving. And, I want to speak to that because it's a tricky thing. We're all in business for ourselves. We're all kind of independent contractors, self-employed, however you want to describe it or label it. And that's all good and well. And you guys know that I have personal goals. I'm here to make money for my family, to take care of my bills. And my goals are all very much personal. But I don't think, and this is maybe a moral point more than a technical point, I don't think that there's a need to keep secrets. And it came up last week one day when there was a young gentleman sitting under the canopy tents with us, just chatting while we were waiting for rides. And he wasn't a local. He wasn't somebody that works the regular airport, area. He said that he was from, a different part of the state. And we were talking, and he was a young guy. I'm not going to lie. He was very young. And so some of what he said, I chalk up to immaturity. But he said, I make pretty good money, and but I'm not going to tell you where I drive. And I said, oh, okay. And I was okay with it. But I said to him, but that's not how the rest of us feel. Those of us that sit here, we share with each other. If we have a bad day, we tell people. If we have a good day, we celebrate it. If we find an area where things worked, or we find a tip or trick or solution to a problem that we've all been having, we share that solution with everybody. Because I don't have to get ahead by stepping on somebody else's back. And I kind of described that to him very briefly. He was young, so he wasn't quite seeing eye to eye with me on that subject, and that's fine. But what somebody said yesterday, who wasn't young, reminded me of that conversation. And here's my thoughts on it, guys. So I'm going to just kind of be as honest as I can. I'm not going to compromise my values. And one of my values has always been that I'm here to teach and train and help other people. I want something more than just, there's my buddy doing yard work outside of his shop. We're putting up Halloween decorations, I think. Sorry, I was just driving by his business. Escape Adventures in Westminster on 140. I think technically it's Gamber, wherever the hell we are. But Escape Adventures. If you're ever into that whole puzzle room thing where like you and a bunch of friends get locked in a room for an hour and you have to solve a puzzle to get out kind of thing, he has a business here in Westminster called Escape Adventures. Check it out. It's really, really cool. It's got like 3 or 4 different themed rooms. One is like Dracula's dungeon, and you have to solve the mystery and murder Dracula, put a stake in his heart. Another one is kind of like a fairy tale, and then another one is like a Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's schoolroom kind of 80s classroom. They're very cool themed puzzles. Check it out. But back to the subject. Sorry, I got distracted. Kind of like a squirrel. I saw something and my eyes went to it. I'm not going to compromise my values, guys. And, one of those things I decided I was going to do when I transitioned from my former, life as a retail manager to this is I'm not going to compromise my values. I don't believe I need to get ahead by stepping on other people's backs, by pushing other people out of my way, by taking something from someone else that doesn't belong to me. None of those things are necessary. There's enough, enough fish out there. There's enough customers or passengers, riders, whatever you want to call them, for all of us. I mean, there really is. There's hundreds and hundreds of, rider transactions being done every day in and around my area. And that means that, the business is there to be taken. Now, are there days where it's slow? Yeah, it's slow because there's a lot of new people that are driving. A lot of new people, like myself, are using this as an opportunity to make extra money, or to maybe, replace their jobs if they lost their job or whatever. And so that the drivers from a few years ago, when it was a very small pool of drivers, a minority, if you will, and there was obviously more business to be had because there were less of them. To go back to my fishing example, there were less boats out on the water catching fish, so there was more fish for those boats. Now there's more fishermen out there, and they're all kind of, we're all still fishing on the same fishing grounds. So, that's the that's definitely a fair assessment, is that it's slower, or there's less business because there's more cars on the road, and I believe that. But if you've gotten this far, if you're interested in becoming an Uber driver, or you're already an Uber, and I say Uber and I mean Uber Lyft, it's all the same thing. But if you're interested in becoming a driver, or you've already signed up and you're nervous or uncomfortable, or you feel like you're frustrated, and you found one of my videos as a solution to help you, then that's my job. My job is to help you. I'm not here trying to sell a product. I'm not here, trying to talk about stuff that's not related. I'm just here to help. And I'm doing it in kind of this video diary format. I tell you about my day. I tell you what decisions I made, where I decided to go, and sometimes you guys hear my frustration. Sometimes I make bad decisions, and in a sense, you inadvertently are learning from my mistakes. So, when he said yesterday, don't tell them about us, it meant two things. One, obviously, the airport is a tricky business model for us drivers. It can be very fruitful, or it can be very frustrating. There can be days where, and you guys have seen me with both days, days where you have great rides, long trips, successful trips with tips and the right amount of mileage, so you make a good wage, and you go home at the end of the night with $150, $200 plus dollars for very few rides. 3, 4, 5, 6 trips for that much money is good. It's good business. Or there can be days where you do 6 trips and you make $60. I mean, that happens. Bad days happen at the airport, and it's very much a luck of the draw situation. And I understand saying, don't bring any more people here. That was kind of one of the underlying messages. But the other underlying message was really around our kind of little tent setup. And again, I don't believe that's correct either, because I was an outsider in the beginning, and I started talking to those guys, and basically they got to know me and accepted me as as one of them. But I was a stranger to them. I've only been driving for 3.5 months. I'm not an old timer, so to speak. And I didn't know any of these guys before we went to this new BWI airport parking lot setup. So, is it fair of me, who just so recently was accepted as one of their, I would consider myself friends of them, to turn my back and put a wall up and say no one else is welcome? No, it's not fair. That's not fair, and that's not right. And none of the people that I talk to at the airport are those kind of people. They're all good people. They're all very friendly and very welcoming and very kind. Can we be a little bit abrupt? Can we be a little bit coarse? Do we use foul language? Sure, we're guys, we're adults. It's water cooler talk. We're just joking around and being obnoxious. It's what we do when we're, blowing off steam waiting for rides. But at the end of the day, we're all good people. And if someone walks up who we've never seen before, we're generally very, very welcoming. We're generally very welcoming, as long as those people are, like us, friendly, kind, respectful. That's how we've all gotten to know each other. And our refugee community has expanded considerably over the past couple months because of that, because we're welcoming. You know, has there been a couple people whose personalities didn't really jive with the rest of us? Sure. But those people kind of, you know, they sense that. I think that they sense that, hey, you know what? I don't really fit in with these bunch. They're not really like me. And usually they go their own way. Usually they kind of get the underlying message that, hey, this isn't for me. But that's the nature of the beast. I mean, and has there been disagreements? Has there been people with hot heads and that have butted heads? Sure, that's part of life. But I'm not going to turn people away, and I'm not going to keep secrets, because I feel like that in and of itself is the beginning of a bad message. So that's kind of what it is. And I've told you guys in previous videos, you know, if you're trying to find me and you haven't sent me a message through the Facebook system or through YouTube, you know, leaving me a comment. I've given my cell phone out several times. I'll give it out again, 443-398-1772. You know, please just send me a text. Say, hey, this is so-and-so. You know, I've been watching your videos. You know, would love to shake your hand and meet you in person. Whatever. I'm not a celebrity. I mean, you know, but I'd like to meet the people out there that are watching my videos. I think that'd be really cool. It'd be a neat way for me to make sure that you guys are doing okay. And if I can help, I can help. Or if you can help me with something that I'm frustrated with, we can all help each other. You know, there was somebody the other day that I guess was trying to track me down at the airport Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and I wasn't there because I was at the beach. You know, so again, the same thing. If I'm okay with that. I don't want people to not be able to reach me. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not none of that nonsense. I'm just a normal guy doing my job, trying to help everybody else out along with myself. But there's enough business for everybody, and I will stick by that. And it's okay if not everybody agrees with me on that fact. It doesn't change anything. I'm still going to go about things the way I go about things, because that's what I believe, and I'm sticking by my beliefs. You know, and that's my ending point on this is actually kind of ironic. I had a drunk guy in the car last night. Him and his friend were talking, and he was basically venting about an argument he got in with, I guess, a brother or brother-in-law or some such. And you know, the brother-in-law said, "I don't believe in anything. I don't have any beliefs." And the drunk guy at the time was arguing with him said, "That's bullshit." You know, pardon my language. Sorry, that one slipped out. But he said, "That's bull." He said, "Nobody has no beliefs. You know, I disagree with you." You know, and that's you lying, because everybody believes something. You know, so that's a strong message. Everybody has beliefs, and you know, these are mine. It's okay if you disagree with them. It's okay if you think I'm wrong for doing what I'm doing, for posting these videos, for talking about our business, for sharing ideas, tips, tricks. It's okay if you don't agree with me in that. But it's not okay to tell me not to do it. You know, that's not okay, because this is my life, and I'm going to do what I think is right. And I think it's right to help other people. I think it's right to give back and to bring us all up. If we all become better, our business model becomes stronger. If we all operate under the same premise and the same set of rules and tips and tricks, we become stronger. It's not about being selfish. It's not about taking every penny out of our riders' pockets, you know, or doing things that are inappropriate. It's just about, you know, helping our customers. We're a service-related industry, but also operating under kind of a set of guidelines and a set of rules. And if we all are on the same page, then the experience becomes very homogeneous, very even across the board, and there's less variation. Because that's one of the biggest frustrations that passengers have with Uber, is that they have some really great riders or really great drivers, and they have some really crappy drivers. They have some really great experiences. They have some really crappy experiences. Inconsistency, you know, inconsistency. You know, somebody I talked to a lot was talking about that yesterday. He used to be a restaurateur and run restaurants in New York City. And he said, you know, inconsistency is one of the biggest problems that restaurants have, is, you know, not having the greatest staff or the greatest menu or the greatest chefs. It's being able to do, you know, good every day, to be consistent every day. put out a good product every day. Doesn't have to be the best product in the world, but it has to be a good product, and it has to be consistent. And that's kind of what we do every day. We get people in our car and we drive them from point A to point B, and that's important. Obviously, the delivering them in one piece is important, but it's also a service industry. They expect us to chit-chat. Some of them, most of them, I would say. They expect us to be friendly. They expect us to, be amenable when it comes to having a clean car, a neat car. Having a music selection that's at least open-minded. Not forcing them to listen to music that we like. Or if they don't want to listen to music at all, just turning the volume down, and they can do what they want on their earbuds, or they can work on their business laptops or whatever. But we have to sort of be, like tofu. We have to be kind of neutral and accept the flavors around us. Kind of mold ourselves to what our passengers' needs are. And that's how we best serve our passengers. Not everybody wants to listen to rap. Not everybody wants to listen to 70s classic rock, my favorite type of music. Or heavy metal. I mean, God, I could listen to Iron Maiden all day long, every day, but not all my passengers are going to be fans of that. So I can't listen to Iron Maiden when my passengers are in the car. Now, if I get talking with a passenger and they like that particular type of music, then great, that's a home run. But that's not everybody. So, that's kind of where I went on this. I know it's kind of a rant. It's 15 minutes in, and I've kind of changed topics a little bit. I've jumped around. I apologize for that. But, I wanted to get this off my chest. I really felt it was necessary because it was a funny thing, and it didn't really sit well with me, and I had to digest it. So this is my way to kind of get it out there, express my thoughts to you guys, and hopefully we all can digest this together, because I don't believe that person's a bad person. He's actually a really great person. And I understand where he was coming from, but I feel it was coming from a place of frustration. I don't feel it was coming from a logical place where he had a really valid reason. It was a place of frustration because this has been a tough summer for drivers. And, maybe everybody's feeling the crunch a little bit. You guys know I've struggled. There's been a couple weeks where I've missed my goals. There's been some weeks where I legitimately was just beating my head against the wall trying to make numbers. That happens. There's been other weeks where I exceeded my goals and I didn't do anything really different because of it. I just, the weeks were just good. So it's that kind of a business where it doesn't always behave itself. And sometimes you have to adapt to the business. And I think some of us are doing that. Some of us are struggling to do that. That's maybe what this is about. This is about helping people that are struggling. So leaving it at that. I'm going to get this posted. This is my my venting, whatever, rant video. Call it what you will. I don't really care. But I just feel like it's good to get this out there because I needed to clear the air and kind of articulate this and get it off my head, and it helped. So thank you guys for listening. If you hung through all the way to the end, if you didn't, oh well, you missed out. But that's kind of where we are. I appreciate you guys being there for me just as much as you guys maybe appreciate me being there for you. So, like my videos, watch my videos, please subscribe. I haven't talked about that enough lately. Doesn't cost anything, doesn't really do anything other than you get a notification from the YouTube app now when I post something new. Gets me closer to having a dedicated link. That's really the thing I need, because this whole, my username is Baltimore Rides. You guys know that. I talk about it enough. But it's hard to search for that in the Uber thing, or in the YouTube thing. So if you're searching for me or you're telling people about my videos, don't, Baltimore Rides is great, but it's not going to get them anywhere. And actually, if you type in Baltimore Rides, you just get Baltimore Rides subject things. You don't get things about this. That's why I start out every one of my videos, the subject line of every one of my videos with Uber in Baltimore. So if you really want to do anything, just tell them to type in Uber in Baltimore, and then they'll come up with my videos, because I come to the top of that search line. And that's every one of my videos' subject lines starts that way. So that's an easy reference point. They'll probably get the most recent one. I don't know how that works. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I'll let you know how tonight turns out. Later, guys.